Hi, my name's Randy Shaw, and I've been practicing and getting better at hypnotherapy for 12 years. And I used to teach hypnotherapy to hypnotists and hypnosis professionals around the world. And I've been nudged to, and let's see, I'm going to make this kind of brief up front because I want to move into the first video. The first video is not really a pre-talk, it is, but it isn't. But I would call it more of a conversation for connection. I've known David for, at the time of this session, which is 4 years ago, I'd known him for 3 years. And at first he was my client and had some success, and then he studied my training materials and went to some of my boot camps and became a hypnotherapist and tried that route, and we became friends as he was doing that. So I know him, and he's had some success because he did, oh gosh, I don't know, 4 or more sessions with me over those 3 years. So he's having some problems with his girlfriend, which you'll find out. And you're going to notice that my process is a little less structured and a little more intuitive. And also, you're going to notice that my process is a lot more focused into the body, because the body's a feeling mind where the subconscious mind actually exists and lives, not just the brain. So without too much explanation, we're going to move into the first video, which is, like I said, a conversation for connection. And then we're going to move into the session right after that. All right, we'll see you later. I've got your email that you sent me. Do you remember the things that you said you would like to work on?
Yeah.
Do you want me to read the email, or do you just want to bring them back up?
It don't matter either way, it's the same thing.
You got it all straight in your head, huh?
Well,
Good.
no, but you never know where it's going to lead either, you know?
Since we're doing this video for folks that are hypnosis professionals, could you just take a moment and explain what you meant by you never know where it'll go?
Well, just taking my last issue that we worked on up at the boot camp.
David is referring to doing a session at one of our regression and healing boot camps, November 2011. He volunteered to do a session with me in front of the group so they could observe and feel a live session on the first day.
I was having a big internal conflict about trying to find the purpose of life. What's the purpose of life? I have no idea.
Oh, that's right.
And, you know, you read Course in Miracles and, you know, Raised Mormon, and you got the Christian thing, you got Buddha thing, which is awesome. You got all these other varieties, and what's the purpose of life? So that was where I wanted to go that direction.
Right.
And we started talking, and the first thing came up was kicking my boy out up at
Right.
up off 106 after taking him, you know, picking him up from school.
Yeah. As David wanted to tackle his large goal, find the purpose of life, after a few releasing of his feelings to get him out of his thinking mind, his feeling inner mind took him to a time when he was intensely frustrated with his son and kicked him out of his truck onto a street. This might seem like a contradiction or the mind is going in the wrong direction, but actually his inner mind is helping him to, 1, resolve a problem with his son and himself, and 2, show him the purpose of life. Perhaps you can appreciate his humility to talk about and process some of his personal mistakes in front of 12 people at our boot camp.
And
that was interesting coming up.
yeah, that was not, you know, I my conscious mind is like, that is not what I want. I just wanted to go this direction. This is what's killing me. This is killing me. I got to find out what the purpose of life is.
David surrendered to the experience that was coming up intuitively, the experience with his son in the truck, even though he thought, this isn't what I need to deal with. This is something that's very important to point out right now. He was feeling a lot of pressure to find the purpose of life. And after a few releases, David's inner mind brought up the experience with his son, which seemed off track and not as important. But in my work, we focus into the feeling and intuitive mind and let go the pressure of the thinking ego mind. Working cooperatively with a feeling intuitive mind brings deeper and more meaningful healing improvements. Examples of improvements: profound clarity and insights, both personally and interpersonally, in the inner feeling mind, the subconscious mind, that bring us balance and a greater power to live more authentically. You will be able to see this when you watch the video of David's session.
But sure enough, that came up, so we went that direction. And lo and behold, though, in the end, was the peace and calming that actually my boy told me. He says the purpose of life is just to make mistakes and learn. And he just told me that like a couple days ago, but I just didn't go in. I just didn't sink.
A couple of days before the incident, you mean?
No, a couple of days before I was up at boot camp.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you, right.
Right, because I kicked him out months before.
Did you catch that? His 12-year-old son had told him just before his session with me at boot camp that the purpose of life was to make mistakes and learn. And as profound and zen as his son's suggestion was, David's ears could not hear. To make mistakes and what?
And to learn from them.
How about the purpose of life is to have some joy too? Can we throw joy in there?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's go back to you're looking for the purpose of life. This is really funny because when I first did my sessions, I'm very grateful for the direction of my life that was corrected at that time. I went down to California to work with Matt, and all over my form was dad, oh, dad, right?
Right.
I did a couple, 3, 4 releases, and up came mom, and I'm trying to get her out. I wanted to know it's not mom, it's dad, and finally I said, okay, it's mom. And all hell broke loose. In my work, this principle has always proven true. Love brings up what needs to be healed. And what comes up are the unresolved, difficult experiences and relationships in our life that still hold an emotional charge, still bother us. And as what comes up is reconciled and healed, then there is room for clarity, peace, and love. Releasing feelings that have been in the body for months, years, even decades, leads to indescribable relief, peace, and incredible understanding and realizations. Then we have fertile ground for positive changes in the subconscious mind and transformation in conscious life experiences. So when I said, Mom came up and all hell broke loose, we both smiled because we know the hell is coming up to finally be healed. And after 3 sessions, I had so much forgiveness for my mother. 4th session went clear back to birth. And I like to tell people flat out, it's because love will bring up what needs to be healed in the form of old experiences that are not resolved, still painful, still hurt, still don't make sense. Once we can make sense of those with the holistic mind, in this process we're calling hypnotherapy, we're calling regression, but it's healing work. Once we can do that resolving work, we let go, there is more joy. So I just think it's funny that you wanted to work on the purpose of life. Your mind took you to a problem with your boy, and you really gave it hell. You didn't hold back. That's where you get your healing, is if you don't hold back. And at the end, you were so peaceful. I want to take a moment and restate that my goal is not just to make a behavior change or make a symptom disappear, as in traditional hypnotism. My goal is to help my client attain a higher, clearer, and empowered state of mind in their subconscious mind. In both my personal healing work and with clients, I found an amazing capacity for us to gain soul lessons, or call it greater intelligence, that is a connection to or refining the person's true and authentic self. As we do deeper work, soulful work, not only do behavior and symptoms resolve, but the person attains tremendous insights and knowledge about their self and the life they're living and the purpose of life, especially their own life. How would you describe the insight you felt? Even though initially you felt like you went the wrong direction in the session, but you felt the peace, how would you describe the insight?
there's nothing to compare it to. You can't compare.
What I mean is you were working on meaning of life,
Right.
and you talked about Mormonism and Christianity and Buddhism, and it took you, and as soon as you got a couple of releases, up came your feelings, and your subconscious mind and your body says, don't worry about that stuff, we got to work with your son.
Right.
Okay? I'm just going to interject this, but what could be a greater realization that the meaning of life is to be able to love the people around you, especially your son? Do you remember how you were able to see that it was mostly your feelings that caused the incident, not his responses?
Well, it was my feelings that drove the whole thing. It was my feeling of picking him up, sensing that he wasn't wanting to be with me, building up my fear. He obviously sensed the fear and just build up, and then the pinnacle point where I kicked him out, because he said, he finally got to the point, he says, I got to do homework. Probably I was trying to avoid it. I think he's actually wanting to watch a football game. And but my fear just got up to that point where it just turned into anger, and I kicked him out.
He now clearly understands how his own feelings escalated and eventually made him do something he regretted. Strong feelings can bully us into doing and saying things we don't want to do or say, and strong feelings, especially negative feelings, can create inaccurate and harmful perceptions.
Remind me if I'm wrong, or correct me if I'm wrong, but you discovered that it was your built-up emotional reactions that was painting a false picture in your head, and that's where the reaction came from?
Right, because I assumed, my feeling was he didn't want to be with me, and that wasn't the point at all.
There you go.
David felt that his son didn't want to be with him, and that feeling created a false perception. Instead of releasing the feeling, David reacted out of the pressure of the negative feeling. Remember, feelings are stronger than thoughts and logic and willpower. So it is very important to catch ourselves in our strong feelings and release them so we can act with clarity instead of reacting and then regretting our reactions.
And I've heard you say many times you want to be the ideal or perfect dad. How do you say it? I want to be blank dad.
I want to be the best dad I can.
There you go.
Watch the body's reactions. In my work and when I train hypnosis professionals, the body will show you things the person is struggling with. I've found the old saying is true. The body won't lie. I'll replay his response. This time watch his mouth, lips, tongue, and jaw.
I want to be blank dad.
I want to be the best dad I can.
There you go.
See the tightening up in the mouth area and biting inside his left cheek. At the time of this video, David was still struggling with trying to be the best dad he can. His body tells us. Here's just a little background on David. David is divorced and wants to be the best dad he can be. And we all know how the parents can feel pained for the children of divorce and carry guilt. If we can remember, guilt is not love, and to release the pain and guilt makes room for clarity and love and appropriate choices.
What do you feel like you took away from that session? What you gained?
Just a good reminder that it's just feelings. You just need to let feelings go as they come, instead of letting them build up.
Perfect.
Release feelings and don't let them build up. David already knows this, but he got caught up that day by the pressure to be a good dad. Catching and releasing the feeling, fear and pressure, would have allowed him to act with clarity and love instead of overreacting inappropriately with his son. Strong feelings can sneak up on us and take over. Strong feelings can bully us and make us do and say things we really don't want to do or say. The more we consciously catch ourselves in negative feelings, the more we can consciously choose to release them. You will see David acknowledge and release several feelings in the upcoming session. Remember, this was only a talk before we were to start his real session, so I'm throwing in some of the compounding in a light and casual way. This is the main message of my work. Releasing negative feelings brings clarity in body and mind. Releasing works both in the moment, in the now, And releasing works to let go and neutralize feelings from the past that still bother us in our present life. Again, you'll see how powerful releasing is to gain relief and clarity in the upcoming session that David graciously allowed me to video for your learning.
What have you done since then? Now that was November, right? And now it's February 1st. What do you feel like that session has produced? Any effect or?
Well, yeah, I mean, they all have effect. I think this one is, main one is just the bottom line is to realize to let go of the feelings as they come. Just know it's a feeling and let it go. Know it's a feeling, let it go. You know, and I took him on a trip right after that to the 49ers game. Didn't get mad once, didn't get angry
Okay,
once.
well, there you go.
You know, it was an awesome trip. I didn't have anything.
And what's coming to my mind now is that you, in the past, you remember how we've worked on you feel like you need to save people and save the world and stuff like that?
Oh, yes.
I don't know of any greater pressure than a parent to be a good parent. If you really love your kids, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be perfect. And when you're working your butt off to try to entertain your son, and then he says he doesn't want to be with you, that's gotta hurt.
It did.
I like the phrase responsible for my own experience.
Yeah.
I want to be responsible for my own experience. So whatever somebody does, it may cause me to feel something. And if I let that magnify, if I let it sit inside me, I may react rather than choose. So if I can release that feeling or let it pass through me as habit, the more we release, the more habitual the feelings will pass through. The more clear and centered I will be. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, so we can respond like we want to instead of
Respond
reacting out
rather
of the
than
feeling.
react. And I just call it choice.
Perception.
When we're emotionally overwhelmed, we do not have choice.
Right.
We react.
From our perception that our feeling locked in place.
Yeah, and the perception and the feeling both could be wrong.
Right.
It could be inaccurate. So the key is to be able to feel the feeling, let it talk to you, release it so that it gives you the lesson, the information, the insight. And one of the things is I think it just helps us to calm down so that our natural intuition and our natural inspiration can come up and help us. And by the way, I think you know this, that when we're too emotional, that the blood goes to the body, the extremities, in fight or flight reflex, and the decreased blood flow to the brain does not help you think. So as we settle down, then the equalization of the blood, the energy, the intellect, the mind, and we become more holistic and loving. I know that's a mouthful, but I see this all the time. I've even seen it with myself where, oh gosh, and I've seen it with people where you can be too angry or upset or depressed, or you can be too happy or too ecstatic. And either one of them are in excess. And this is where we'll make our mistakes. We've got to come and bring it back down to the middle. Let go, open up, become calm, breathe, flow, and then boom, here I am, right back inside where I can make my best decisions, do the right thing at the right time for the right reasons. Does that sound reasonable, David?
Yeah.
How about we skip into now, jump right into what it is you wanted to work on today.
Next up, the video of his session is a grand tour of the power of releasing feelings. And you can witness how truly dedicated David is to his personal healing and to be a good dad. Just let me whisper this to you, please, as you watch his session. Just notice how many personal insights David has and how priceless they are.